Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another live stream on the channel. The crypto market is starting to pick back up again. In today's live stream, I will discuss this move that the market has made. I'll also discuss whether or not, we are imminently about to enter an alt season or whether this is potentially a fake out and we're going to be coming back down. There's a lot of bullish momentum, a lot of kind of bullish sentiment coming back. And we're going to look at the charts and look at it from an objective black and white point of view and see if anything has actually changed or if things are still very much up in the air. Okay, so we're going to discuss those things. I'll also be sharing with you 2 microcap degen plays, which I think could do exceptionally well when the risk comes back in the market. Okay, going to be sharing with you 2 microcaps later on in the stream. So stay tuned for those 2 microcaps, okay? Smash the likes on the stream if you're just tuning in. I upload pretty much daily crypto content, live streams, videos, etc. So definitely hit the likes and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Okay, so if we take a look instantly at the Bitcoin chart here, you can see we are getting a little bit more bullish again, which is great to see. We managed to survive a potential dump for now. Okay, for now. Now, we know that rate cuts are probably expected to start in June, so we still have a bit of leeway between now and then. However, the market is looking a lot better. It can't be ignored, okay? We've had 3 consecutive weekly candles now on Bitcoin, if we pull up the chart. 1, 2, 3 consecutive weekly candles. and we have managed to survive. Okay, the question is, what are the clear levels that we're looking at here? And I would say it's this kind of 91K to 94K level. These are like the clear levels that we need to be breaking above in order to get truly bullish. And right now, we're not at those levels. We are still technically in this kind of no man's land zone between this level here and this level here. We're still in this kind of yellow zone outlined here that I would say is kind of like no man's land, because there isn't really any clear price history or any clear consolidation. Until we break out and get above into this more consolidation phase, then we can get bullish again. But one thing I would say is it's looking a bit more optimistic. Okay, things are definitely looking better. We're more to safety now than what we were a few weeks ago, but we're still not necessarily completely out of the clear. Okay, we're not fully out of the woods yet, but we're getting close to being out of the woods. That's kind of the analogy I would use. We're not fully out, but we're getting close. Okay, we're getting pretty close. As for the total 3, this is looking pretty good. We have just gotten above the 200-day moving average. We are above the levels that we got down to. Clearly, okay, the total 3 has actually had a very positive bounce. Ethereum, on the other hand, still kind of looking a bit bad. I'm just going to be honest. But the total 3, it's looking strong. It's had a bounce, got back above the support that we broke below. This support level stretching back from March 2024 was kind of what caused this massive sell-off. We broke below that. We're well above that now, above the 200-day moving average, and we're starting to see some much more kind of favorable price action. Okay, now everyone's asking, how high can the total 3 actually go this bull run? And it's a very interesting topic. For those of you who don't know, the total 3 is essentially the market cap of every cryptocurrency, excluding BTC and ETH. Okay, so this is the one we really want to be looking at if you're holding altcoins, because this is what altcoins are really making up, right? Altcoins aren't made up from the Bitcoin chart. There's nothing including altcoins when you look at Bitcoin. And then if you look at the total market cap, that's heavily skewed by Bitcoin and ETH. So if you're actually looking for altcoins, you want to be looking at the total 3 and Bitcoin, obviously, because Bitcoin does drive everything. But if we look at this, okay, we put like a fib extension type of thing on while we're looking above, I'm looking at the total 3 thinking it's going to have a pretty big move to all-time highs. And we're going to make a higher high here if this move continues, okay? If this move continues and this is the real move, I would expect total 3 to be putting in a higher high at some point above the 2021 levels and above the level that we kind of double topped on earlier last year. Okay, so looking pretty good. Obviously, we're not necessarily fully out of the woods yet. Bitcoin is still kind of in no man's land, but we are certainly starting to look a lot better. Total market cap, however, on the weekly, it is still kind of below the 200-day moving average. So that one has a bit more to move. But my overarching point here is things are getting better. Things are looking more bullish. We have more of a reason to be optimistic than what we did a couple weeks ago, right? When we were in the low 80s or even the 70s. Also want to let you guys know about the VIP group right now. There is a sale still on. Save 20 at checkout. That's SAVE 20 at checkout. You can join the VIP. I just put a brand new buy alert into the VIP today, okay? I'm still heavy in cash. I want to make that clear. But I'm starting to dip into the altcoins little by little, okay? Not big allocations, but I'm starting to make little transactions in the altcoin market. Once we get above 91K for Bitcoin, that is when I will really start pouncing. But until then, like I said, we're still kind of in a no man's land. We're still kind of in a bit of uncertainty. But I'm still making little additions to my portfolio here and there. So I did just pick up a brand new altcoin in my portfolio, one I've never bought before. It looks pretty good in terms of the chart. It looks bottomed out to me. If you want to see that alert, which I think can potentially do really good returns between now and maybe July, go check out the VIP. It's in the Discord buy alert section. You can go and see it. The Discord is insanely active. People posting 24/7. I was in a group chat call last night for about 6 or 7 hours. You don't want to miss out on all the alpha that we have. Okay, let's look at some of my kind of higher conviction altcoins, and then we will get into the comments. So please do get your questions in the chat now. I'll be going through them in just a moment. But if we just go through some of the conviction plays right now, Sui is looking pretty nice to me. Okay, Sui is looking really, really good. And right now, I have a very heavy allocation towards Sui in my portfolio. I have more Sui than any other altcoin at the moment. And I'm very, very proud about that because it is one of the altcoins which has held up the best during this crash. A lot of other altcoins came right down to their range lows. Okay, so for some reason, my trading view constantly glitches out. But I'll show you exactly what I mean and why Sui has kind of been tested very well with this dump and held up. So most altcoins, they would have come down right down to the range lows, okay? Kind of like this. This is what Ethereum has done. This is what Casper has done. This is what a ton of altcoins have done. They've come down to the range lows, and some of them have even put in a lower low. That's how brutal this dump has been for altcoins. Sui, on the other hand, has not done that, okay? It has not done that. It's held up very, very well, and it's actually held the golden pocket. That shows the strength of Sui. This altcoin is braced for a massive move up when everything starts going crazy again. And I would be putting as many of my eggs in this basket as possible. Obviously, I wouldn't be a maxi, but chart-wise, it looks as good as any altcoin out there, to be quite honest with you, chart-wise. Because it's respected the levels. It's respected its support. A lot of other altcoins, they just haven't respected their support. And that's not me hating on the altcoins. That's just me outlining a clear fact. Sui has respected its levels very, very well. And you're seeing it now bounce out of the golden pocket. And now it's aiming for the next level. This thing, for me, has crazy, crazy potential. Okay, let's take off this fib. And let's just look at the extension levels here from, if we go from this high down to the low for the potential next move. I think Sui's going to minimum, like $7.50. Most likely it's going way above $10 this bull run, most likely. And if you were in my VIP group, you were buying Sui largely below $1. Some people even bought it lower than me. Some people in the VIP group, because I was telling them that I was going to buy it. I just didn't have the funds ready at the time. But some people even bought lower than me. I was buying in the 70 cent, 80 cent, 90 cent region. Some people were even buying at 60. If you were doing that, you're going to be in crazy profits. Like, all it has to do is go to $11, the 2.618 level. And man, you are up crazy X's, okay? Crazy X's. Like on a blue chip as well. Like 15 to 20X, you're not complaining on a blue chip. Especially in a short period of time. So Sui is looking the best right now, I've got to say. Casper, it's looking a little bit weak, got to be honest. And this is like fundamentally the best crypto in existence, but I've got to call a spade, whether I like it or not. The chart just doesn't look the best. I mean, it broke down below all the levels. It's been a while since it was at all-time highs. It's not looking the best from a charting point of view, but I still expect it will recover purely based on the fundamentals. Sometimes a coin is that good, the fundamentals just trump the chart. They take over. And there you go. You get a massive pump. I think that's what's going to happen with Casper. Casper's not going to pump because the chart looks good, because it doesn't look good. Casper's going to pump based on the fundamentals, based on the crescendo upgrade, based on listings, things like that, okay? But looking at these coins, Tau is in the same boat as Casper, okay? Maybe not as bad, but it's also kind of just come down below all the levels to the range lows. And by the way, that's not a rarity in the space. A lot of altcoins have done that. That's not a complete and utter rarity. Most altcoins have done that. Now, Tau did manage to hold this kind of point of control level. Most altcoins did this. Sui's just its own thing, man. It's just its own thing. It's really done well on this dump. So Sui looks exceptionally strong. We got Casper, Tau, obviously still very bullish on those. You know, and then you could start looking at some other ones which look pretty good. Ondo, I think, looks pretty good. It's recovering quite nicely right now. We pull up the Ondo chart. You can see starting to recover pretty nicely. Say, bit of a high risk one here. The chart, I can't tell you looks amazing, but the fundamentals are really, really good. Trump's World Liberty Financial has bought Say. It's extremely fast. It's EVM compatible. It's just got all the recipes to do really well as a crypto. So I think it's a good bet. Obviously, it's a bit risky. It's not as guaranteed and set as Sui, but it is like one which could either do really, really little this bull run, or it could go and do like a 20x and surprise people and do exceptional. So it's a smaller allocation. I wouldn't be putting as much into Say as I would with maybe Casper or Sui, but it is still a pretty quality layer one when you go and do your research. All right, we're going to get into my 2 high-risk plays before we get into the chat. We're going to get into my 2 high-risk plays. Smash the likes on the stream. I'm about to share some really degen projects, okay? So if you can't handle risk, and you're the type of guy to get butthurt because you put your money in a low-cap coin and you lost money, then just maybe skip the video or pause it or put your fingers in your ears, right? Because some people can't handle risk. And this is the thing, right? I put small amounts of money into these degen coins. 0.1% of my portfolio. Those types of figures. Never do I allocate more than 1% in these types of coins. But for whatever reason, I'll tell people, yeah, I'm just putting 0.1% in this coin. And then they'll go and throw 80% of their life savings into the coin. And then if it goes down 20% one day, they'll blame me for that. So just know that obviously low cap coins, they're risky. You can lose money. I'm not telling you to buy them, but you can also make a lot of money on the other side. Okay. The first degen coin, which I'm bullish on, which I think will do well, is Heroes of Mavia. And this one already had a bit of a recovery. Obviously, nowhere near a recovery to all-time highs. But I was in profit for a moment on this one. I was in profit for a blip. Now I'm back in a loss again. It's come back down. But this one did go and do like a 7x or so in literally a week. So it's proven itself that it can make those types of moves already. And when gaming comes back, or even if it doesn't come back like last cycle, if it just comes back to half of what it was last cycle, I would expect Heroes of Mavia to be one of the performers. So this is one for gaming, which I think can do really well. And the other one, which looks good from a chart point of view as well, that would be Swarm Markets. Okay, I've talked about this coin on the channel for multiple years, actually. I've talked about it many times. You can go back on the channel and watch videos I made on this thing like years ago. I still think it's fundamentally a strong coin. As strong as you can be as a low cap, right? It's not as strong as Ondo, but it's not the same market cap as Ondo. It's an 8 million market cap. I think RWA is going to make a comeback. I really do. I think RWA is going to make a comeback. Arguably, it hasn't even had a real rally. So it wouldn't even be a comeback. It would be like its first true emergence. It's just a narrative which makes sense. And I think we're going to go into more of a utility season in the next run, purely because of Trump and because of strategic reserves and all these things. I'm not saying memes won't run. I think they will. But utility coins, particularly layer ones, DeFi, RWA, I think those narratives are going to do well. And I've been talking about that for months now. Since I sold my memes, I've been saying I think utility is going to have a good run. And I stand by that. And Swarm Markets is like a good microcap utility play. If you look at the chart to me looks all right. Let's pull up the RSI. Yeah, the chart to me looks like it's kind of flipping bullish right now. Looks like it's flipping bullish. This thing went on a mad run. The last time RWA pumped. It went and did like a 473% pump in like literally like 2 or 3 weeks. It did that. So this thing has proven itself to have volatility. Sure, it can crash crazy when the market dumps. But when RWA comes back, it can absolutely explode and send it. And I'm just looking at this chart. To me, it looks like it's breaking out. After this downtrend, it looks like it's finally maybe starting to pump a bit. So anyway, let's get into the comments. Smash the likes, get in the VIP, guys. I'm in this group every single day. You guys might be asking, why haven't I done a live stream in a little while? I've done a few in the VIP. So while I haven't done a live stream on the channel in a little while, I've been doing multiple live streams over in the Discord VIP. So check that out. Get yourself a Tangem as well. Don't be storing your crypto on an exchange. Get a Tangem. Use code Archie. Save money. We'll get into the comments. Let's see what you guys are saying. Glad to be part of the best VIP community in crypto. Thank you. Archie, what's your opinion on the fact that Casper and Tau are moving slower to Sui? Would you flip them? No, I wouldn't flip them into Sui completely, but I would hold more Sui than Casper and Tau right now. And I've maintained this belief for months, okay? It's not like I've just randomly had this belief. I've had more Sui than Casper and Tau for maybe 6 months or so. Part of that is because Sui is up a lot for me, but also part of that is just I purposely did it. I purposely allocated a lot to Sui. So appreciate you being a part of the VIP, man. I appreciate the kind words about it, but I wouldn't sell all my Casper and Tau. I would make sure I keep a bag of them. Just my Sui would be more. So maybe Sui would be 30% of a portfolio, and then Casper 15%, Tau 8%, you know, something like that. Omar, how's it going, man? What's going on, Archie? I'm feeling bullish, baby. This is the calm before the storm. Those who are still here will be rewarded massively in a couple months. How are you feeling? I'm feeling good, man. I am feeling optimistic. I wouldn't say I'm feeling bullish just because we're still in no man's land with Bitcoin. So I can't really get bullish when nothing really has massively changed with the chart. Now, don't get me wrong. We're at a better position now than what we were. Obviously, we've kind of survived some of the risky things that could have happened, particularly if you look at the Gaussian channel and how that was creeping up. The Gaussian channel was creeping up. We got close, okay? We just about survived it. Now, could we come back down again if there's some FUD? Of course, we could, but the probability now is probably lower that we do. But I still have a cash position because we haven't necessarily changed. And I'm willing to play the probability game and not the speculation game. And I'd rather buy at breakout, buy in at altcoins at that level there, even though it's a bit higher, because my probability is more on my side, right? Until that happens, we still haven't officially changed in terms of the chart. We're just kind of ranging in no man's land. So until we get above 91 and maybe even 94K, 95K, because there is a money flow point of control around this level. Until we get above those levels, we're still kind of in no man's land. And I wouldn't heavily be deploying capital into high-risk coins. I want to emphasize heavily. I would be deploying a little bit here and there. I just wouldn't be heavily deploying. And if we came back down, I mean, I would be heavily deploying as well if we came back down. So it's kind of one of those, man. It's like, it's bullish. It's looking good, but I'm not ready to get exceptionally bullish just yet. Despite maybe my thumbnail looking like it's all going to go ballistic in like 2 days, right? Got to get clicks somehow, right? But I do think we will have a great alt season. I really do. I think we'll make a lot of money. Hit the likes, fam, for the realist in the game. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Hi, Archie. Great to see you again. Thoughts on Deepbook and Walrus? Thanks. Appreciate you watching, Rowan. I think they're both really good projects from what I've seen. Both on the Sui ecosystem. Walrus, backed by Miston Labs. Deepbook, it's kind of liquidity, DeFi part of Sui. I think both of them are great projects. The only thing is, man, is a lot of these Sui projects, they actually didn't do that well the last time Sui rode up. So you would have been better just literally holding Sui itself rather than holding Cetus, Walrus, and a ton of these memes. So people always think conventionally like, oh, Sui's great. Why not just buy the lower caps and the beta plays and you'll make a ton more money? It's not always that simple. A lot of the time, the beta plays, they don't actually do a whole lot better. And it's not worth all the added risks that you get with a beta play. So they're fine. They're great. I'm just not holding them because I have a really nice bag of Sui and I'm happy with that. Just go and look at Cetus when it ran up. You know, I think it was something like Cetus did an 11x and Sui did a 10x from the low to the high. Right. So, yeah, Cetus did a 13x and Sui, it did a 10x. You know, are you really, really, really thinking it's worth taking all that added risk going for a beta play to make marginal additional gains rather than just going for Sui itself and holding that? That's all I would say with that question. But they are good projects. And if you time them well, I'm sure you'll make a lot of money on them. Good morning to you. It's good evening for me, though. But good morning to you, man. I just looked around the corner and there's nothing there. Do you think we'll have another downturn? It's possible. If we don't break above 91K, I do fear that we'll come down again. Yeah. We have to break above 91. Otherwise, this was purely just a manipulated, orchestrated liquidity grab, right? Mostly based off futures trades. Like retail haven't come back yet, right? Veracity, it's all right. I don't hold any. Thoughts on the lower high and lower low on Say? Yeah, the Say chart, it's not looking amazing, man, but the project itself is really good. So it's one of those, man, sometimes. Like, how much weight do you give to the chart versus the fundamentals? And this is the same conundrum I have with Casper. Like, Casper is a great, great project. The fundamentals on it, terrible. I mean, Casper is a great, great project. The chart, terrible. Not the fundamentals. The fundamentals are amazing. They're like perfect. But the chart right now on Casper, it just doesn't look great, man. It's not seeing a heavy bounce. It's broke down below all the levels. You got to put yourself in the mind of someone looking at Casper who doesn't actually like the fundamentals. Someone who's just like a Forex guy, knows nothing about crypto. They pull up the chart. It doesn't look good. The chart just doesn't look good. And then you research the fundamentals. They're as good as they possibly could be. It's one of those, right? Yeah, man. The Casper devs being super political definitely turned people off 100%. I knew a guy in my Discord told me that one of his friends had 20 million Casper tokens across different wallets. They sold all of it because of the politicization of the tweets. Walrus, it looks good. It looks good. I just don't know. I'll have to wait and see how the chart looks and stuff on launch. I wouldn't be jumping in on it. I like Arrow. Maneki, I sold my Maneki. I sold all of my memes a while back. That's why I'm not talking about them. And no, I have never been paid by a single crypto project. So maybe you're new around this channel, but I'm pretty vocal about that. I never, ever, ever take paid promotions. I haven't even done one. I've had this YouTube channel now for maybe 3 years. Yeah, 3 years maybe. I've never done one. Never done a single paid promotion. So no, they never paid me. I still think it could do well. I just got rid of all my memes. I'm in utility. So that's me. You do you. If you want to hold memes, that's fine. Maybe I'll get back into memes at some point, but I cashed out all of my memes a while back. And overall, net, I made great profits on memes. Maneki was one of the very few that actually made me a loss. So it sucks, right? I put a lot of money into Maneki. I ended up losing money on it, but pretty much every other meme I did really well on. Mumu, I made a 14x on Mumu. So not complaining, you know? Yeah, I know Excelis. I looked into it. It's kind of too nerdy though to pump, you know? Like it could do well. The quad lemma is just a funny term, but I know they're putting privacy into it, but I don't know if that makes sense. Look, I like privacy coins from a ethical point of view, but they're never gonna really do well in crypto because they're attacked. Selling in a loss is not my strategy. That's fine, but I would rather sell in a 20% loss than sell in a 90% potential loss, right? Sometimes being a good investor is called cutting your losses and moving it into a better moving vehicle. So not always the best thing just to hold a coin forever and diamond hand it, even if you're in a loss. There's been times, right? I've been down on a coin 20%. I cut the loss, I put it in another coin, and I'm up 10x in a few weeks. Like, but if I just kept holding that coin, I would have kept riding it down as a falling knife. So a good investor, a good trader knows when to cut losses and move on to a better moving vehicle. And really what I should have done is probably had a stop loss or something like that, but I didn't, right? So but yeah, like if you're in a 20% loss, 30% loss, 40% loss, whatever it is on a coin, and that coin looks like it's going to keep going down based on the chart, it is an emotional, non-objective reaction to sell it. A stoic, objective investor would not to sell it. A stoic, objective investor would sell a coin in a loss if it looks like it's going to keep going down, because it's about preventing the further loss as well. So if you think a coin's going to keep falling and you're down in a slight loss and you think it's going to keep falling and falling and falling and you don't sell it, it's an emotional reaction. You're not thinking rationally or logically. You're thinking purely based on emotion because you don't like the idea of selling in a loss. But tons of billionaire investors have took losses. Do you like Peak? I like Peak. Again, from a fundamentals point of view, I hold Peak. The chart didn't look amazing. I mean, it launched at bad timing, I guess. It came down to its range lows. It's starting to see a bit of a bounce, so it could be the bottom. Oh no, it hasn't. The range lows is even lower. That's why you've got to look at different exchanges. But yeah, I don't know about Peak in terms of the chart right now. It's very hit or miss the way Peak has looked. But I do believe it will do well this cycle. It is a good buy. Like it's a good coin to have in your portfolio. It's just not as guaranteed as other coins right now. It's pretty risky if you're buying this because it is down 80% from all-time highs. It's a pretty risky buy, but the quality is there, you know, the quality is definitely there. Deep in, I like Deep in. I like the Deep in narrative. I think it'll do pretty well. Underrated. And I like the amount of machines that are using Peak and the amount of partnerships and stuff they have. It is a very underrated coin. I'm going to be honest, Peak. Very, very underrated coin. It could do really well. No, I'll never buy Nacho. I'd never buy it. Shy Dash's cat. I'd stay far clear from that guy, man. Your plan was to sell all in Q1? I said all? I don't know if my plan was ever to sell all in Q1. I've never said that. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've ever said that. I said I was going to sell in Q1, but not sell all. When did I say I'll sell everything? And I did. I sold quite a lot of, I sold all of my memes. And I've sold portions of my portfolio. I'm 42% cash right now. 42% cash and stable. So I have been selling in Q1, but I don't think I ever said that. I said Q1 to Q2 could be a potential top. But then we had the whole tariff thing, and Q1 ended up being really bad. So things changed. But Q1 did look like it was going to be bullish. I'm pretty sure most people here thought Q1 was going to be bullish. Okay. Most people probably, if you asked them 3 months ago, what do you think about Q1 2025? Most people would have expected it to be bullish. And I was one of them as well. So yeah, I did used to think that. I used to think Q1 would have done really well. It hasn't done well. So therefore, I still think we have room to grow. You know, it's the debate about time versus price indicators, right? I've got a certain price I'm looking at for Bitcoin to top out at, and I'll sell when it gets to that level, you know? If it happens in Q1, if it happens in Q2, if it happens in Q3, doesn't matter. But it didn't happen in Q1, right? Q1's been very bearish, and I don't think many people expected it to be that. But luckily, we're starting to creep back up now, so it looks like Q2 will be very bullish. Q1 bearish, Q2 bullish. Maybe there's going to be a top in Q2. Maybe there's going to be a top in June or July, by the looks of it. How's it going, Cache? Yeah, I don't think the top is in. The top is in for some coins, for sure. Right? Just like in 2021, there was a ton of coins which topped out early. You'd be a fool to assume every single coin is going to make a higher high. That's not the case. Every single coin won't make a higher high. There will be a bunch that don't. Bitcoin had two tops, pretty much. The second one was a slight higher high. April and November. 90% of altcoins, pretty much, maybe 80%, topped out in either of those two pumps in April or November. Very few topped out here. Very few topped out here. Most topped out during those two periods. Now, if Bitcoin does something similar this time, and we come up for a higher high during June or July, maybe 120K, something like that, there's going to be a bunch of altcoins which actually fail to make a higher high. There will be a lot which already put in their high, like they did in April last cycle. There'll be a bunch which put in their high in January. Particularly with the meme coins, there'll be a ton of memes which don't get back to their levels. How could you assume every single one will do that? Because if that's the case, everyone's going to become billionaires pretty much. Because you just go and buy Trump coin, you know, and sell it at all-time highs. It's not going to happen. There's going to be a bunch of coins which don't do that. Maybe Trump coin's one of them, which doesn't go to all-time highs again. Maybe, you know, Brett never goes to all-time highs again. I'm just picking random ones. Maybe PopCat never goes to a new all-time high. But then there'll be a few which do go to an all-time high. Maybe Fartcoin is one of the few that makes a higher high, right? Maybe SPX 6900 makes a higher high. Maybe Pepe will make a higher high. So there'll be a few which actually make a higher high, and then there'll be a lot which don't. there'll be a ton of coins which don't make a higher high, especially with the memes. Now, for layer ones, I would expect most layer ones will make a higher high because they're quality. You know, I would expect Sui makes a higher high, maybe H-bar, maybe Mantra. You know, Ondo, most layer ones and like RWA or quality coins, I expect will do that. And someone's spamming me on Snapchat. So yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, Pepe will probably make a higher high, but a lot of the boys club and those other ones, they won't. It's too much to ask. But yeah, we're getting a little bit of a sell-off now. A little bit of a sell-off. Past couple hours. Based on the stock market open. Let's see how the stock market's looking. So it's just opened. Kind of not a great deal going on with the stock market today. The NASDAQ is down 94 basis points. 0.9% down on the NASDAQ and 0.3% down on the S&P 500. So not a great open. Not a great open. I think it'll do well. All right, I'm going to wrap up the stream here, guys. Check out the VIP. There is a brand new buy alert in the VIP if you're interested. Okay. Brand new buy alert in the VIP. Go and use the code SAVE20 at checkout to sign up. And yeah, I'll see you guys over in the Discord. I'll see you guys over in the VIP. Appreciate you guys joining the stream today. Things are definitely looking better, but I would not say we are completely out of the woods yet. There is potentially still a little bit more pain. Or just chop, just sideways, before we truly get the altcoin season and the breakout. So hit that link in the description. Get in the VIP. Daily voice chats, regular live streams, buy alerts, sell alerts, portfolio reviews. I can review your own personal portfolio. So loads of benefits. Get in there while it's cheap. The price will be going up once the bull run commences. So definitely get in while it's cheap. And, you know, there's a lot of opportunity in the market because I'm going to be going on a buying spree pretty soon with altcoins. And I'm not going to be doing that in a few months because that's when I'll be selling. So you want to get in now while there's opportunity, while there's buying opportunities, and then you want to sell when the market tops. So I appreciate you guys watching. Get on over to the group, and I'll see you all in the next live stream. Goodbye.